Simona, it is said that you are one of the most vocal people against human trafficking. Is this accurate?
Is most accurate.
You're an advocate for women and have fought for years against the discrimination and abuse of women and human trafficking of young girls. The Guyana Women Minors Organization, GWMO, was formed in your efforts to end these abuses. Can you share with us two stories about your experiences in your fight against human trafficking?
Um, yeah, I want to share a story. A survivor that I rescued, and I will share this one because I paid a serious price for that. Um, I rescued a young child. I would call her a child because she was 13 years of age, um, indigenous in the Puruni area. It was five of them at that one time: 13, 14, 15, 16 was the eldest. And I can remember clearly their faces as I started to talk, their voice, the situation um, that they were in, the conditions and everything.
Mhm.
And I remember two of them, one was Indian. And when we rescued them, there was resistance by the shop owner to some level, but they came away. And one of them, she said to me, I don't know for what reason they would have referred to me as mommy. I don't know. She said to me, Miss, I can't tell you how I feel. She said, I wanted to show you something. She said she got baptized 2 weeks before. This woman met her and told her about this job that she got in the interior to work on the internet. And the woman told her that she ain't gonna pay rent, she ain't gonna pay light bills, $150,000 a month. And she said she thought that getting baptized, this is an opportunity here for her. God sent this woman with this job. So she took the woman to her mother, and the woman tell the mother, listen, I got this business, everything's going to be okay. She gave the mother $20,000 advance, and she left. She said the first day when she left on the journey, there was a toll station that they had to pass to go into Peru. She said when she was crossing on this boat and she met to an area, a place they call Itabali, it was very confusing for her because she felt like crying, like screaming. She felt like jumping off of this pontoon. She felt like she was in danger, but at the same time, she felt stupid because all it was is that she traveling going to this interior. So when she made to the toll gate, she saw police and she started to act in a way to get the police attention, to ask him that she wanted to go back. But in doing that, she got the police attention who made passes and touch her in a funny way and things like that. So she ended up there. But the time will not permit me to go through all the details, but
Right.
he said to me that the Saturday night before we got there, the Sunday, he put a rope in the ceiling. Well, it's a tent. And she said that there's no God, there's nobody that cares, and that life makes no sense. And she tried to hang herself with the rope. But the wood was too weak that she put the rope on, so the wood broke,
Oh.
and she didn't manage to break her neck. And coming there the day and rescuing her and them from there, she said that she repented because this had to be a God. But she got that hurt. Why me and why did she go through the things that she been through? They had to dress in underwears and brasiers. They had to sell drugs. They had to everything. I cannot go through all of that. But I remember that clearly, and I wanted to share that one because people sometimes got the idea that, oh, these are just vulnerable girls, or, you know, people, oh, the most negative things they can think about. But even a young girl who wanted to put her life together, who wanted to be that Christian girl, and she got baptized and served the Lord, she found herself in a situation like that. The other one was an indigenous girl, and her father took her to the marketplace. She lived in the river and to Supana, the charity, sorry, and a friend told her that, let's go and meet this friend, and her father's there busy. And she went with this friend and met with this policeman who took her in the interior, who took her for a drive, and then she went to this place. She couldn't even describe. All she could tell you, we went to this place because she never seen this place before. And then we took a boat, and then we go to another place, and then we took a car, and then that is how she's describing her journey. But she was a child, but she said to me some things that always remain. She said while she was there, she had to sleep with men in whom she known like uncle, like mommy, like big men in my village. And how do I go back there? I remember those. I remember
Mm-hmm.
uh, several stories. I wish that we had time, maybe that I could have shared one of my experience in detail with you for the
Please,
benefit.
Simona, please do. This is important, and I'm eager to hear it.
And the story that I'm going to tell you about her is that while she left and she ended up in Georgetown, ended up in Vatican again, this is a baby, and she is trafficked without knowing, and she's trafficked by a policeman. And she was there. She said when she got to the place, she was so scared. She tried to escape 3 times. And the officers, they catch her and put her back there in the room. She couldn't go anywhere. When the men sleep with her, the money had to pay over to the bar. So there was no money, there's no communication, there's nothing at all for her. And she said one night, a grown man, he came to her and he went in the bedroom and he told her, I paid the bar already. But he said to her, I'm going to give you the only money I have is $20,000. He said, I will not touch you, but you got to get away. And he gave her $20,000. And he told her that a truck is leaving in the morning and the truck is going out. And she could take this $20,000 to find her way because that is all that he had. He said to her, I quote, you look like my daughter. I come here every night and I'm looking at what is happening and I have to do something to help you. And at this time, that was after 4 months that she was there. And she went the night to the truck where he told her, and there were lots of drums in the truck, fuel drums packed going out. And she went below the drums and lie down, and they packed the drums. And she said it was about 1 in the morning. And the rain fell the whole night. She was lying in this truck. But she said she started to get cold and frightened. But where she was no place that she wanted to stay. So she said, listen, I don't even care if I die in this truck. I am not moving. I recall her saying that the truck drivers came about 4 a.m. and started the truck and they started the journey. No one knew that she was at the back of the truck and the barrels was on top of her. And they got to an area that they called Peruni. And she was there all shivering, and some men come to join the truck, and they had to go to the back and saw her there and said, John said, what are you doing here? And the truck driver said, you weren't here all the time, where you came from. And he said, how much money you got? And she said $20,000. And he said, well, $20,000 can only put you this far. And he took the $20,000, and she had to come out of the truck. A woman met her there and said, listen, who are you and where you from? And she's there all scared. She knows nobody. This is a child from a far village. And the woman said, I'm going to take you. Next week I'm going out, and I will take you to Georgetown, and I will help you to get back home. But when she got there the night, without clothing, everything was wet. She recalled the woman giving her 3 underwears. And that is all she had to wear by day and night. And by the way, when I got her, she was in one of those. But she managed and got a little top piece because she always sitting down and trying to clench herself. And she was there again for another 3 months, in a worse position than she was in before. I brought her out with me another damn time, took her to the state care. When she's sick, she's with malaria, and she's there, and at the time I can't even go at the state care. But one of them sent me a text message and told me that, listen, Mommy, if you don't do something, that she will die. And I went there and I asked him, I said, why you have her? She's lying there on the floor. Nobody's taking care of her. She's sick. She is sick. I'm going to put it in the newspaper what y'all are doing. And I went out there and I published it in the papers, and then they allowed her, and I took her and I take her to the doctor. Every time I take her back, I had no choice but to keep her. And I started to mother her and called her and took her to the doctor, and she got well. And she couldn't read and write. And a woman called me and she said she saw me in the papers, and she teaches phonics in this Pastor King. And she's willing to work with some of these children. I took her to phonics. I listened to her try to say the vowel sound. I fought with the system at that time because she wanted to see her parents again. And this is me, I'm just stuck there with her. And I'm asking the system then, this is Guyana, why can't you find her parents? She's telling you where she's from. Oh, we can get an officer there, we can send them next week, we'll send them next month and the other. The child was happy, but the child wanted her family. And one day I was there and I went home and she was crying, and she said, she jumped up and she held on to me. She said, I just dreamed my baby brother, I wish I could see them. And she said, Mommy, I really am so happy, but if it's just to go and see them one more time. I could not, that was the breaking point for me. And I called a gentleman that I knew in Pomeroon, and I said, I will pay. He said, how much money? He said, it can cost me about $100,000. They can go over into this place and they're going to look for this man and all of that. And I agreed to pay it. And they went and they find her father. And they got a number. And when I called him, I said, how are you? This is your name? And he said, yes. I said, I'm calling you in connection with, and I called her name. Immediately, this man started to cry. And he said, oh my God, is she dead? How long she died? And so on. I'm saying, hello, could you please listen to me? She's not dead. She's here. Your daughter is here. And she jumped on and snatched the phone. And daddy, and they were talking. And I looked at her, trying to talk to him, but she's weeping and he's weeping. And I'm not going to tell you no lie. I was shedding the tears too, but like shame. I didn't want you to see that I cried. Right? I was really crying because it was hard for me as a mother.
Yeah.
The next morning, about 7 o'clock, the man showed up at my door. This is not a child whose parents neglecting her. He said to me, he went to all the police stations. He checked, he made reports. He could not have imagined, and his wife held him accountable. Although they're indigenous people, his wife said, "You took my daughter and gave her away." And he said there was no joy in the family because his wife held him responsible. It was impossible for him to say to her that I was there, I didn't even know where she disappeared to. Where did she go? And the mother's there and they're all suffering, and their daughter is enslaved. And she left. The father came, and I packed her up her school clothes. When I was giving her school clothes, I never forget that. She said to me, "Mom, you could keep my school clothes. I want to come back down. I want to go to school." And the father, and that was 9 months later when she was reconnected with her family.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said to her and the father, he brought her back to me. And I said, I cannot, I will tell you the honest truth, I could not, I was scared to keep her when I was keeping her because the system then was after me. That same matter with that young lady, when I rescued them, I risked my life. The woman who, gentleman had them at the shop, came to the mine station in Peroni, assaulted me, drug on a man came in and was a big situation there at Peroni. And although I reported that to the police, nobody did anything, and I was assaulted. And when I heard that this woman and this gentleman in another back down, I reported it to the police, and they got the woman. You know when they got the woman, what happened to me? The police sent and arrest me.
What?
And said after 9 months, I made a report that these people assaulted me, that this woman said that I snatched a gold chain off of her neck. This is Simona Broomes here. Snatched some big 4-ounce gold chain off of her neck. And I, Simona Broomes, stole it. And they sent and they arrested me and had me at the CID. They took a caution statement, meaning that they had evidence to believe. And that how I abused this woman, and she got medical and she got a witness and all of that. And it was in the papers. This is not a Nancy story I'm telling you about. It was in the papers. And the DPP said that I could make a request publicly for her to look at the files. At that time, Minister Trotman was the Speaker of the House. And he called me. He said, "I'm trying to destroy you. I'm going to help. I'm coming to pick you up where you live," to go to the DPP. And I had videos and all the footage when I was assaulted. And when the DPP asked, "Where is the medical and who is the doctor?" The police then said the doctor who do this medical, they can't find him. And the person who gave a statement that they put in the general public to destroy me, that they couldn't find that person, and all charges was dropped against me. I say that to say this: trafficking in person and my life then and what I do now, I didn't come into office to start a fight for my people. I fought for them at a price.
Mm.
And that is why even now when I'm in office and people find this way, because they think, oh, you're too strong and this and that, and they could just make some lies and just throw it out there to people and they churn it and all of that. People got to understand that when you find, be it a woman or a man, that will stand up, risking their life for their people, it's not something that you should take lightly. You don't make them a god, but why would you try to destroy them? You're trying to destroy me because I'm a woman, and the media came and the women minors at that police station and started a riot because they said they're sending me to the lockup, with this lockup, the female lockup they got. And the whole thing started there. And then is when they said, they get some call and they can put me on bail to come back and to come back and to come back. And the DPP, all charges was dropped. Nobody, people talking about apologies, nobody never apologized. I am a woman who stood up, risked your life, left with responsibility. I was not receiving funding. This was the little money, that I had. And I had a surgery in 2008. I was paralyzed. And as soon as I got my foot in, I did a major surgery. I went to Jamaica, I went to the States, I went to Cuba, and did a major surgery. I left this country in a wheelchair, and I returned in a wheelchair, and I was purpose Because of my experience, I will not give up. I will find my foot and I will continue. And I found my foot by the grace of God. And I continued, and here I am today. Here I am today. Same rules, no different person. Here I am. So when people see you sometimes and they talk, I learn to value things. I come from a situation and a place as a woman miner. You see in that bush where they call it? Let me tell you, younger police, there's no health post there. There's no GWI there. There's no GPL in there. There's no stores in there. If it's 4 persons, 5 persons with you in a camp, that is all you have. If it's 4 months, 6 months, that is all you see, apart from the beautiful birds and the little tiger that's gonna run across sometimes and
Tiger.
like jumping and the few ackeries around the place. So I value life and I value people differently. I'm really sorry that you got me into my passionate area to talk about trafficking. My
That's
apologies.
good. That no, don't apologize. This is good. This is very good.